You're listening to Inside of You. That was an aggressive intro.
Maybe start over.
No? Do you know how I usually go? You're listening to Inside of You. I just did something different. I brought a little energy to it. Maybe we'll get a vote. Do you guys like the calmer, you're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum? Or do you like the big one? You're listening. No, see, it's mellow. They like the mellow one. They don't want excited Rosenbaum. Who wants an excited Rosenbaum? My dad sure didn't. Oh, I was, probably annoying. In the ass, ADD. What the hell is this kid doing bouncing off the fucking walls? It's been a day, man. It's been a day, folks. I usually take things in stride. Today is the first day in 250 days that I didn't meditate in the morning. I just woke up late, wrong side of bed. I cried a few times this week. It's been a lot, but I'm going to meditate right after we're done with this podcast. And boy, am I going to need it. But yeah, it's just been, I went to the Ronald McDonald House and it's been on my mind. And I go every other Tuesday and I, bring movies and pizzas and stuff like that. And I met this kid and we just connected and his mom was there and, it's terminal cancer and he was a big Smallville fan. I just connected with him. I couldn't stop talking to him. I was interested in him. He was just a great kid and great positive energy. And I gave him my number and his mom my number and I've been texting with him. And he went through a huge surgery yesterday morning. It didn't go as planned, but he's a tough kid. And I'm not a big prayer. I believe in hey, there's many people who need more things than I do. My prayers, I don't need to pray for superficial shit. So this was one of the first times I did pray. And I said, hey, man, it's one of those exorcist moments where I was like, take me. I really was. I was like, fuck, man, this kid deserves life. He deserves happiness. And he's, I'll tell you, for someone who going through all this shit, he's tough as hell. He's a cheerleader. He's great. Showed me some backflips he's doing on video. He's just a good kid. Preston, if you're listening, I love you, buddy. And you're in my mind. You're in my heart. And let's beat this freaking thing, man. So great. We got a great show today. Before I get going on that, I'll just throw out a few things. Thank you to all the Patreons and my patrons out there. In the outro, I'm going to, of course, say your names. And by the way, the questions I'll ask my patrons, the certain tiers get to ask questions for the guests. So, we pick certain questions. And so if we didn't pick yours, it's going to happen the next time. And, it's just it's a process, as the Canadians say, a process, Ryan. That's what they say, process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone else says process, yeah.
No, we say process, they say process. We say process. Yeah. So, and also, yeah, that's what I'll say about that. A lot of good things coming up. Going to Richmond for a Smallville convention there, GalaxyCon on February 28th, 29th. And then I'm going to Jason Manns, who produced the album, my album Left on Laurel. And we're going to do a live stage on next Sunday night, which is the 29th or first. What is that? Whatever the fuck, you know what it is. Go look on stageit.com and check it out if you want to watch. All right, this just came in. This is news. I'm doing a live podcast. I've been tweeting you guys out there and telling you that I might do it. My first live podcast is going to be in Austin, Texas. I'm very excited. It's at the North Door, 7 p.m., March 31st, Tuesday. My guest is Zach Levi. You know him from Shazam. He's been on the podcast. I'm so excited. He's my first guest. Tickets right now, if you go online before they sell out, $25 in Austin at the North Door. You can go to insideofyoulive.com/ so you could find it there. It will redirect you to that Eventbrite link for the live podcast. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum live in Austin, Texas at the North Door, 7 p.m. with Zach Levi. I hope you guys check it out. Also, you can go to the website, marginwalkerpresents.com, and that will redirect you there. It's MARGIN walkerpresents.com if you can't find it, but you'll be able to find it. I'm going to post it on my links. So a live podcast in Austin. I'll also be in Mexico later in the month of March with Tom, doing a little Smallville nights and all that stuff. So a lot of cool stuff going on. What else, man? Like I said, crazy week. But you just keep moving. You just keep moving. And you're grateful. Like, the thing that keeps you moving is, like, you see a guy like Preston. It's like, really, dude? You're going to worry about your bad day? What was so bad about your day, Michael? That's how you feel when you see other people suffering and dealing with big problems. You're like, take it in stride, man. Take it fucking stride, Rosenbaum. Jeez, dude. The guests today on the show are Brian and Gianna Welch. You know Brian from Korn. It was one of the biggest days when he left the band, and people are like, why did he leave? And it's an amazing story. And for those of you like, he left to find God and are kind of like, oh, why would I want to listen to this? Well, you do want to listen to this because this is a fascinating story really about not only a guy, but his daughter who, he wasn't hurting himself by doing all these drugs and things that he's so open about. And but his daughter's here with him. And it gets emotional, man. It got emotional. And were you uncomfortable?
No, but it was kind of tough to hear because you sort of hear about the effects of the rock star lifestyle on the family. I mean, because I'm sitting next to him and he's got all the tattoos everywhere, and I'm sort of looking at those. But then you can also see, the effects of his daughter, and it clashes.
Yeah, the vulnerability. It was interesting, and I really appreciate Brian and Gianna. Big shout out to Chris Dowling for hooking that up. Chris Dowling, great director, friend of mine, great guy. Hooked me up with Brian, and they came over and they did a documentary, which we'll talk about, which you guys need to see. It's pretty amazing and inspirational. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy this interview. So why don't we get inside of Brian and Gianna Welch? It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. Like most musicians, especially if you're in a band like Korn, like how are you not half deaf?
They are. Yeah, literally.
I wear earplugs every show. These fools, Jonathan Davis, our singer, James Schaefer Monkey, the guitar player, they don't wear earplugs.
Ever?
Ever.
Well, they got to be deaf.
I don't get it. I mean, they got to be.
But you don't see any, you don't ever notice, I said, hey, 3 times and they didn't hear it? That's incredible because you're loud. That's a loud band. Korn's loud. It's louder than any band. Certainly louder than Air Supply.
Do you know who Air Supply is?
I think I've heard.
Sing a song from Air Supply.
I'm all out of love.
That's it.
Okay, yeah.
There you got it. That's it.
I was doing the verse.
Brian Philip Welch. Does anybody ever call you Brian Philip Welch? Or they just call you Head?
My mom calls me Head, and
No, they don't.
my friends call me Brian Philip.
That's not true at all.
Oh, the other way around.
Yeah, that's the other way around. Does your mom ever say, I hate when they call you Head?
When she gets mad, she's like, Head!
She does not.
No. No.
I'm a liar.
You and I have same facial structures. We both have just longer faces. People said, I read somewhere where, what? Look at my head. I have a longer,
It's messed up.
I have a big head. You know how many times people tell me I have a big head and that's how you were named Head? Because your bandmates or whatever told you that your head didn't look like it belonged in your body because it was too big. I don't think that's the case because you're taller and it works. But I'm saying that's the same thing with me. I've always had people have said, you got a big head, dude.
Really?
Always. Ryan, do I have a big head?
Of course.
Don't grow a beard because it makes your face look longer. And I just do it anyway.
Because you don't care, do you?
I don't give a shit anymore. So what about... No, here's what happened. My head grew before my body grew when I was a teenager. So my head turned into an adult and my body was still a 12-year-old. It was like...
Yeah.
But so now I've grown since then.
Jennea, you have a perfect head.
Oh, thank you.
The combination of genes between your mom and dad.
Her mom has a skinny face too, kind of not long, but kind of skinny. So I don't know where you got it.
I got her crooked nose, so I mean, she's.
I don't think you have a crooked nose, but let me tell you something. I like a
Thank
nose
you.
that, my friend Chris McDonald, he says, man, I love a girl with a strong nose. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, strong. It's like you don't have it, but something bigger, stronger.
Strong.
And one time there was this girl who was a friend of ours. In my phone, I had Jill Strong because Jill had a strong nose. And I remember when we met her, Chris was like, that girl's got a strong nose. I like that. And so one time we were at a bar, I looked at my phone and she saw her number and it said Jill Strong.
No.
She goes, that's my number. Who's Jill Strong? I go, no, that's you. Well, what does that mean? I go, no, it's just like, you're strong. You're like, I looked at you, I was like, man, that girl's hot. She's strong. I made it up on the fly, covered it up.
Wow.
What if she listens?
She won't.
Is this on right now? Is this live?
No, it's not live. Could you
Okay,
imagine
good.
this was live?
Oh.
Listen, the two of you are here because, well, first of all, my good friend Chris Dowling, but secondly, Well, here's the deal. I watched this documentary, and it always sucks when someone says, "Hey, do your research," and you have to watch an hour and a half documentary. It's like, "Oh, watch this movie that I'm promoting." Like, fuck, I'm gonna fast forward through this shit. I mean, I just don't. I have ADD. I don't have time. It's really.
That's it.
It's like I'm gonna sit back for 2 hours in the middle of the day. I could barely watch a movie at night when I'm sitting on my couch and I have nothing going on.
I get it.
But I watched it. Jess, my assistant, sitting across from me, and then I just started crying at the end. Because there were like certain parallels, and I just felt like you were so brave, both of you, in this documentary, so forthcoming, and like it's so easy to just sugarcoat it, hide all your secrets, hide everything. There's stuff that's too embarrassing. I'm not going to share it.
Yeah,
and I feel like you start to divulge, you start to tell everybody all these things that you did, and I could see how hard it is for you. And then something tells me it's just as cathartic as you could get once you release that.
Oh, yeah. I was just trying to be real, first of all. Mm-hmm. And it's funny you say that to back up that I just did a podcast the other day, and the guy said, look, these people said we need to link up together. We need to talk about, doing some stuff together. So they got invited to go to dinner with me, and then they sent the link, and they said, hey, watch this movie, though, before the dinner. He's like, oh, God. Well, I'm getting a free dinner. Well, I better watch it so I have some stuff to talk about and whatnot. And so same thing. He watched it and he was like,
holy shit.
We're doing movie showings in my town, and he's setting them up right now. So
that's incredible.
That's cool. Not everybody will connect with it, but like a lot of people have, and so it makes me feel
I
good.
don't think you can't connect with something like this, because even if you haven't done drugs and you're a party, you're not a rock star, it's not really about all that as much as it is a relationship. It's about you and your daughter, and I felt like you were just lost and you just couldn't, you wanted to, you saw like the other side. God, I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better friend. But it's that struggle, it's addiction and all that. But it seems like for someone to be able to one day just make a decision and just walk away from all the fame and all the fortune, all that, I mean, that's a huge thing. But I think this relates to normal people, and I'm not saying you're not normal.
I'm not.
You're more normal now.
Nah.
But I think that it's the guy that's a workaholic. I have a friend whose dad works all the time, and he's a kid, always working. It's work. And and it was an addiction. Work was an addiction. So there's all these other addictions out there. Yeah, yours was drugs and partying. And, so everybody has that until you start to learn to be present, learn to have some mindfulness, learn that there's other things that are way more important, because nobody gives a shit. Once you're dead, that's it.
That's it. And so when you say that, it reminds me of a guy that was giving me advice before I left, before I got sober. He was like, you know what? No one is at their deathbed going, I wish I would have worked more. Yep. I wish I would have toured the world more in my band. I wish I could have spent more time with my family,
Yeah. Yeah.
Or some people may have done it perfectly and they're like, I'm ready to go. I've done everything right.
I can't party. Rare. I'm going to go. What is it, Neil Young? It's better to burn out than fade away.
Yeah.
Did you think that a lot of times? Because Jennea's here, and we're going to talk to you a lot about this. But did you feel like, a lot of times while you're partying, you're like, I don't even care. I hope I party too much and don't wake up. Were you one of those who had those macabre thoughts of just like, I kind of want to die. I don't care.
The last 2 years of my addiction, yeah. But it wasn't like I don't care. It was like I want to cease to exist. I don't want to breathe. I don't want to get up and feel this way anymore. But then I'd be like, but I can't leave her. She's 4 or 5 years old and her mom's out of the picture, and I'm the only one that's, I'm her caregiver. But what do I have to give her? She would get over it if I died, and someone would raise her, like whoever in the family that's a better person than me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was back and forth. It was never like, I don't care, I want to leave and never wake up. It was like, I just don't want to feel anymore.
All right. So look, this documentary is called Loud, Krazy Love. And, anybody could watch the story of Korn and go online and hear their music. It's everywhere. You guys had huge success. You said one part in the documentary that you had too much money to fit in the bank or something like that.
Yeah, that was like an exaggeration.
But you did have that much money. When you were talking about a lot of money, I'm always one of those guys who think, how much money did he have? Because I'm okay. Like, I'm doing okay. I'm fine. I have a house. It's, you know, when I think rock star money, I mean, when you get residual checks, were you getting like millions of dollars a year in residuals?
No, I was exaggerating. What my point with that in my head, I was thinking was I bought everything that I had to buy. Like I couldn't buy anything anymore. I had the cars, I had the house, I had the $200,000 pool, the bridge going over it, and waterfall. And I'm like, I got nothing else to like buy. I have all my toys I can ever want, and I was just like, what do I do now? You know, it was just I don't know. And then I had self-hatred because I'm like, I'm not thankful. I can't even enjoy. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm a whiny little rock star, you know. And I'm depressed. Oh,
I have everything.
Yeah, every $200,000.
Do you know what? I said this to a therapist. I said, I don't know. I feel like I've done it all. This is me who's done 1/1,000,000th of how much you've done and toured and all the places. But I was like, listen, I've been to Disney World so many times. I don't know if it's as fun as anymore. And I you know, going to 80s concerts, and I started naming these things that people would just laugh at me. And I'm like, you know, I did it. And they're like, but maybe one day you'll fall in love with somebody and really just want to show them all the things that you love, and then you'll enjoy it through them. And I'm like, oh my God, how did I not see that?
Right.
It immediately made sense. So that I think of your daughter. I think of Jennea going, she's 5, she's 6. All these things that I get to do and go over the world and everything, I want to do with her. I want to explore with her.
Right. But I was stuck in my, you know, it's like that light went off when he or she said that to you, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, at first I thought, how am I that stupid? How do I not realize that? But that's how unaware I was of who I was and what I really wanted. And then when I thought I could share this with someone, and that started to open the doors.
The mental blocks were so blocked in our thinking, man. It's just crazy. The pride and it's like one sentence from one person, even a stranger, can shift your life like that. I'm in a good spot now, and I still get in those ruts where, you know, your mind comes in and it's cloudy, and you're just like feeling the, and then someone says something, and I'm like, I mean, it just happened the other day. I can't think of what it was, but oh yeah, there's a lot of death happening, and I'm just like, suffering is just intense lately, you know, with families and people. I mean, a guy I know just had his brother-in-law murdered, and, you know, over a drug deal, and then they cut up the body and tried to burn it for evidence. And it was just like, I can't take it. And
sounds like making a murderer,
right?
You know,
and it's just it's hard to take, man. And someone just said something about the other side, and it's like viewing things from here, the horror from here, or on the other side where all the pain is gone and resting in peace. And it's like, what's our perspective? We're only here for a little bit of time. So why are we focusing on the horrors of this life when the next life is so vast and pain-free?
That's always the thing. It's the not knowing, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, you found religion, you found God, and you have an idea of where you're going. You know, and a lot of people out there, I have friends who are atheists, and I know probably a lot of guys in your band are, and people in the music, whatever. They're all around. Even my grandmother goes, am I going to see my husband again? Because my grandpa just passed. And I'm like, and this was with conviction. I wasn't making her feel, but I go, yeah, you will. I think you will. I really just, there was something in me that was like, hey, there's something bigger. There's something better. There's something more out there, you know? And we can get into that. But I want to go back to the documentary because I felt like I'm about to watch him relapse. Something's going to happen. Brian's going to relapse. Because, you know, you leave the biggest band in the world, you know, you're making tons of money, you know, your band's like, fuck this. And then now you're struggling a little bit and you're finding out, questioning yourself, did I do the right thing? I'm sure that went through your mind, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
So, and I was like expecting, wait, relapse? Maybe you relapsed after the documentary. Maybe. I kept thinking, but you haven't?
I relapsed before. Well, here's the thing. I didn't really relapse because I never said I was going to quit, but I would do meth or coke or whatever, and then I'm not going to do it for a while. And then months would pass, and I'd do it again. So does that count as relapsing? Because I didn't try to quit, really.
Does that count?
No, because there was no definitive, like, I'm quitting, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know? I think.
I agree with her. So, but I did relapse so I quit. I found my spiritual life, and I was doing that for a while. And then I wrote in my book, they didn't put it in the movie, But I wrote in my newest book that I started having wine with some friends that just, had some wine with dinner.
Right.
And I'm like, 1 glass, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. One, and then like a couple of weeks later, I was like, 1 big glass, that's it. 2 glasses. 3 weeks later, 3 glasses, and then I was doing shots, and for 2 months, and I was like,
it never ends well.
I can't drink, man. Why can't I just drink responsibly?
Because some people just can't. I have friends that I'm like,
Yep.
you shouldn't drink. I can drink. I can honestly drink because I don't look to get hammered. I don't need, and my personality doesn't change. But I have friends, I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are when they drink. They shouldn't drink. They do stupid things when they drink, and they always regret it, and they're always filled with guilt. So I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't like when you drink. I don't like being around you when you get hammered and can't control yourself.
I just can't. I can't do it. It's crazy.
You can't control yourself.
No, but then I was like, I'm going to quit in like next month or in 2 months from now. I know I can't drink anymore, but while I'm drinking, I'm just going to keep going.
Right.
So I set this time, and then I battled myself. But yeah, so that was a relapse. Drugs, no.
Not once.
No.
And you know.
Yep. I mean, yes, but
You talk every day. Mostly?
Text, like,
text like every few days, and then we see each other at least once a month because I'm living in Lafayette, Indiana right now. So
Lafayette is near where the youth center was. Right? Wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See?
That's where
now
it's
you
at.
know I watched
dude,
it.
he did
Come
watch it.
on.
Fuck yeah, dude, because I'm also from Indiana. I grew up in southern Indiana.
No.
In Evansville.
What?
Yeah.
Dude.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Did you know Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5?
I did not know them.
They lived down the street.
Really?
Yeah,
I
Gary,
didn't-
Gary, Indiana.
Gary, Indiana.
Oh Lord.
All right, so look, I mean, there's so many things I want to talk about, but like this relationship, you're born.
Did you say relationship?
Well, it was relationship for a while.
was.
That should be our term now. Well, our
Relationship.
relationship finally became a relationship.
See?
Wow. Love that.
You were born in 98.
Yes, I
Not
was.
you. You were born in 98.
I was doing the math. I'm like, huh?
Now I watch it, and you could see the love. You could see like how much she meant to you. See, that's a nice hug.
She is the angel sent from heaven to get me healthy. Honestly.
But I think also,
I might be dead if she wasn't here. I might not have cared to get right.
I think that's probably, I'm going to say that's entirely true. I don't think you'd be with us right now if you didn't have her.
Because I wouldn't have cared.
What do you care for? What are you caring for? You took her away from her mother. You came home while you were on tour, and her mother were there really like neo-Nazis in her house? Like
Yeah.
skinheads?
Yeah.
Skinheads.
Skinheads are living in your house, walking around as you're a little girl, and you came home to this, that she's had,
Well, I heard about it. They talked about it, and a friend told me some things that was going on, and then I sent a message. Well, there was no messages. I called, left a voicemail. It's like, I'm coming to get her. I don't care who's there. Da-da-da. I came back, and because of the message, they bolted and left her with a babysitter who was watching her at the time, like a kind of
So
nanny.
you didn't see these guys?
No.
If you would have walked in to freaking this mess, do you think you would have attacked these guys?
Well, my friend Donnie.
Big Donnie?
Yeah, he borrowed Big D. He borrowed a gun from my friend Rob. So it was a thing where, like, he had it in his pants just in case, because these guys were gang members,
Right.
They probably, even if they're tweaking, they probably would have been like, "Oh, this is his kid, take your kid," But I don't know what would have happened. It was just like I had to get her away from that madness, and so nobody was there except the nanny.
Do you remember?
No,
those
I
moments?
was 2 or 3 years old.
You were just a little girl.
Yeah.
And you took her and you went back on tour with her.
Yep. But it was pretty fun. She was like running around.
You look, I don't know. I mean, you were too young to remember these things.
I mean, I remember being on tour a lot. I remember they were always so sweet to me. Like their security guards and whatever would push me around the stroller and take me to parks and stuff. So I remember those things.
Yeah.
How long did that go on?
That was not that long, actually. It was like a month or 2 or something like that. And then she would come out like sporadically, but it wasn't like a constant, "Hey, you're going on the road with me for a year or 2.
Well, who'd she stay with at that point?
So when she was on the road, We had a nanny. It was actually a dancer from Britney Spears tour. They were off the road for a little bit, and my tour manager.
No, I said, oh.
Oh, like you said.
And my tour manager was dating her, and she's amazing. And then we went home. That guy Donnie, Big D, his family, they had kids like kind of the same age and everything. And so we just, it was like my parents, her grandparents, this family, and we just did what we could,
Right.
while I was touring. So that was another like 3 or 4 years before I figured it out. Look, I'm leaving, and I gotta be home with this kid. I want to be home with this kid.
How old were you just when Brian decided to, quit the band?
I was 6 years old.
6 years old. So you remember, when you're 6, you can remember a lot of things.
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday, honestly.
And you couldn't believe it when it happened, right? I mean,
Yes.
you're this little girl, and you talk about it. You weren't spiritual, really. You weren't religious before all this happened.
Oh, no, not at all.
So you just went to a church.
Well,
you were high.
I was told about Jesus when I was 12, and I actually just prayed to him once, and then I prayed like when I was 12 years old. Then I prayed again at 19, and I was like, Lord, please don't let me go bald. And there's like two prayers in a decade.
There's a lot of those prayers. I think the God hears a lot of those prayers. Please don't let me go bald.
Now you have hair to your butt, so
Right?
good job.
That's it. So, yeah.
Thanks, Jesus.
out, Lord.
Good looking out, my Lord. Inside of You is brought to you by Squarespace. Ryan, have you ever wanted your own website?
Of course.
Right? Everybody wants their own website. They want to start a new business. They want it to stand out. And I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, in general, I don't know what I'm doing.
I knew
in
that.
general.
I
So
mean,
how,
I knew this.
So how am I going to do a fucking website?
You should probably find a place that can do it for you with some nice templates.
Dude, it's so easy. They make it so easy and so affordable that you have a cool idea, they turn it into a new website. Showcases your work, blog or publish content, whatever you want. You want to sell products and services of all kinds, you go to Squarespace. Squarespace, you promote your physical or online business. Do I sound angry?
No?
Well, I'm not angry, but I think this is it's a good product. You think something, you dream it, you make it. Okay, with Squarespace.
Sure.
That's what you do. And I like that, they have these beautiful templates created by world-class designers, so it's not some guy that you're getting at but maybe back home where I'm from. Analytics that help you grow in real time. They have built-in search engine optimization, free and secure hosting, 24/7 award-winning customer service. It's pretty right there in front of you. Make it yourself. Easily create a website by yourself and make it stand out with a beautiful website by Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code IOU to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com. Enter code IOU. Ryan, what is it?
Squarespace.com. Enter code IOU.
IOU. Inside of You is brought to you by CBD MD. I'll tell you, man. CBD companies, there's a lot of companies out there. Everybody's making their CBD. But you know who needs CBD? You know who knows about CBD the most? People who suffer, like myself. I use CBD MD because I am in pain, folks. All of these other CBD companies claim to be the best. But now, Ryan, Rosenbaum has spoken. The people have spoken. The 2020 Product of the Year Award winners have been received, and CBD MD products won 2 CBD categories. Boom. CBD PM took home the award for Best CBD Sleep Aid. CBD Freeze Roller, which I have like 18 in my house, won top honors in the CBD topical category. So look, if you're curious about CBD, if you're on the fence, or if you're drowning in misinformation, these products are the perfect place to start. Safe. I think people think that, they're getting weed, right?
I mean, it's part of it.
I think that's the allure is like, but is it pot? Is it? I don't want to. This isn't not that. I use this all the time. I've had 7 surgeries. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. You can tweet me later and go, hey, I used it and I liked it. And I'll say, yeah, exactly. To give CBDMD's award-winning products a try, they're offering our listeners 25% off your next order when you use the promo code ZBT. That's Zebra Beta Topless ZBT at checkout. Once again, that's CBDMD.com. Promo code ZBT for 25% off your purchase of superior CBD oil products from CBD MD. Look, something happened. Something like, you say it in the documentary, but it's like, wow, did it just happen like that? Where he's like, I feel it. there's this presence, there's something that hit me, there's something that changed my life, and it causes you to just split something that's so big, bigger than you, successful, money, everything, and there's something that you just felt? Or was it something that took a little time to make that decision? Did it take months, or was it like, I feel this, all of a sudden I'm enlightened, I've got to go?
It was a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's a blur, but I was going to the church and I liked it. I was like, okay, well, if there's a supernatural help, then I don't have to do it all. I can have help, right? But after like 2 or 3 weeks, what happened was at my house, the whole thing is love. I felt love from another realm come around me, into my soul, into my mind. It's a mystery, honestly. It's a mystery, and some people experience it, some people don't. It awakened me and enlightened me, just like you said, and it was like, everything changes now. I'm not going to be the same person. And I knew it, and I did struggle with it like for another week or two with, I found some more dope in I did relapse. Yeah, I found my relapse.
There it is.
Woo!
Wow. Wow.
I was going to church and I was like, I'm doing great. And one day I went home and I opened up I saw a first aid kit in my closet. You know, tweakers, they hide things. And
Oh, yeah.
I opened up the first aid kit and out rolls an 8-ball of crystal meth. I had so many
That's not some gauze.
Wow.
That's not a Band-Aid for my... Oh, look at that. What the fuck is this? And then you just snorted it down?
I just went for it. Yeah, I was like,
Did you still go to church or whatever?
oh, I disappeared. My phone, no one could get a hold of me. And then a week later, I was like, man, I wasn't having a good time on it anymore. It was like I felt guilty. I felt guilty because I made a decision that I wasn't going to be this anymore. Then I felt guilty because I felt like I was letting people down. People were trying to help me. And, if God was in me, living in me now, and I'm one with him, I felt guilty for that. So it was just done. And then at the end of that week is, actually it was at the end of that, I don't know, it's a blur. All I know is that was the last time I did dope. And I found a little bit more a couple weeks after that.
Threw it away.
Took pictures just like your camera you're holding. And I poured it. Well, actually, it was a lot.
You still have those pictures?
It was like in my first book. I'm pouring it in my toilet, and it's in my book, yeah.
And you could hear it if you hear the audio. No. No, don't. If there's audio to it. Don't. What are you doing? No, but you didn't do that. Now, Jennea, it's hard to kind of transition into you because...
Don't do it. Oh, man.
What are you doing with your life?
That's so funny.
No, that's brave. That's strength right there. That's strength.
It really is.
Now, as a little girl, it's hard to like going, hey, so as a 3-year-old, what were you thinking?
Oh my gosh.
You obviously got to a certain age where you're like, I'm sort of fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, something started happening. You started like acting out.
Right.
You started doing things, wanting to get attention, which everyone does, no matter how old you are. And especially at a young age, if you feel sort of like, did you feel abandoned as a child?
Absolutely. Well, one, I experienced the trauma of my mom leaving, and then the trauma. Like there were times where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and he would be on his computer tweaked out, and it would make me cry. I'm like, why aren't you asleep? And so I went through trauma, and so when you're a kid, you just go through the experiences. But I think when you hit 11, 12, tween age, you start to realize those things hurt. You're not just experiencing anymore. You look back and you're like, ow, that really hurt. Like I feel damaged because of it. And so I really fell into depression. I would say just like the signs of just like sleeping all day and whatever. And
what was it? So you feel like, all right, my dad's not really there. You're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying whatever, but he's, you're still seeing the addiction. You're still seeing things. You're seeing your mom's not present.
Being hopped from house to house and not having like the bonding that I needed to be like a successful child, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what about grandma and grandpa? Were they pretty solid?
I saw them once a week-ish. But the problem was that there was some stuff that went down in the house that I was staying at. He didn't really know, but the parents were had really bad anger issues and
drinking,
and there was some like sexual abuse with the kids.
This was a random family that you were living with?
No, it was the people that he knew on the road, and so there was just some stuff.
And you were witness, you were privy to a lot
Yes.
of this shit. You were seeing,
Yes.
and when you see things as a child, especially when you're getting older, I mean, I know it sits with you.
Yes.
There's certain things that you can remember vividly from when I'm telling you, when I'm 6, when I'm 8,
Right.
10. I mean, obviously it gets more vivid
Mm-hmm.
as you get older. But I could see in the documentary how you're spiraling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you're reaching out, you're crying for like, help me. I need love.
Well, I didn't quite understand why I was hurting. I knew that I experienced all these things, but I didn't. I almost forgot what hurt so bad, and so all I knew was that I was in pain and I wanted to die. So I grew up in the age of social media, and self-harm was a big thing, and Tumblr and whatever people would post. And so me and my friends all were in broken homes and whatnot, and so we would talk about cutting and burning with like lighters and stuff. It was almost like a competition, like, oh yeah, well my life sucks, so I did this and I wrote fat on my thigh, and oh yeah, well my dad yelled at me yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and were your parents like, was like Brian letting you do whatever you sort of wanted? Did he have like there were no guidelines, no discipline, like be home by 10? Did you have to be home at 10?
Our life was kind of crazy. Like we would travel and stuff, and I would be on the road with him let me backtrack. When he left Korn, he started a solo project, a Brian had Welch band, and then later was Love and Death, and they would play shows at bars and little clubs and stuff. And I would go on the road and be doing homework at like 3 a.m. So my life was a little different in that way. I would say, like, he tried to be strict and be like the dad and whatever, but
Right.
Our life was too inconsistent that it wasn't there.
she didn't have. It wasn't like we lived in a town and her friends were in town and she could go and then hang out till 10. It was like,
Right.
hey, we're going on the road this month. Next month, Dad, I want to go to Phoenix and visit my friends because we
Right.
used to live in Phoenix, and so I'd fly her out there and talk to their parents. Oh, they're going to be good, and then. And then she got into some stuff that way. But
When did she start lashing out? When was it like, the whole I hate you, I'm tired of you? When did you know, like, you got to step up? How do you sit there and say, hey, you need help when you're the one who needed help for so long? And how does that give you any kind of validity?
Right.
Was she always questioning that?
she was questioning a lot. What do you think, 13 and a half or something?
Yeah, I would say when I hit 7th grade, I really started to hurt. I really started to experience the pain of things. But yeah, I started to, I think, voice it and lash out and really self-harm when I was 13.
And were you devastated by this?
Yeah, totally. Because, I tried to discipline her, but like I'd say, give me your phone. You're not going to have it for a couple of days. And then she'd say, okay, I'm doing my homework now. I'm doing it. And then she would do it and say, come on, I did it. I'm not going to do it no more. And she would say, please, like Bart Simpson.
Keeps repeating himself over and over.
Dad, dad. Okay.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
Well,
I would never hold the discipline because you'd always talk me out of it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was a good manipulator.
And this is hard because at the time you felt like you kind of left it all. You want to raise your daughter. You're having this relationship. Well, I guess at this point, when did you leave the band? In
2005.
2005. And you kind of rejoined. Like this shit started, you started touring with them a little later, right?
Yeah, like 8 years later when she was 14, almost 15. So it was a long time. I know it's a crazy story, right? It's like
It is a crazy story.
It's hard to
because-
keep up with the timeline.
Yeah, and it's just like, you have, it's especially like when you found yourself and you found God and all these things, and then you have a daughter that's acting out, and then she's, she wants attention and she's suffering and she's hurting, and it's like, again, how do you not fall back into that? And you're like, I kind of did this for you in a way, but you understand fully what she's doing and why she's doing it, and then these are her feelings. She's had these deep. So it's it probably takes a lot of therapy. Were you guys going to therapy together?
We tried therapy. Yeah, she wasn't really having it, and
Well, I feel like kids sorry, let me cut you off.
It's all good.
I feel like kids who have attachment issues, therapy doesn't work because bonding is scary, and the only reason you would tell your feelings to someone, or the only reason they would want to know, is because they want something from you. It's not just because they care about you. And so therapy scared me, and why would I tell this woman that I don't even know all these things that happen to me, and what if she snitches on me, you know?
Right.
What if I tell her something and then I get in trouble, you know? And so it just didn't work.
And did you feel like you were absolutely 100% honest with her?
Man, I mean, I tried to be, but you know what? I carried around so much that self-hatred I had when I was growing up. It was, and then I couldn't get together. I had so much rage and anger problems. And I remember she said one day, she was like, I said, I'm sorry, you know, because I blew up. And she's like, you're not sorry. If you're sorry, you wouldn't keep doing it. But you don't understand. I can't stop doing. I can't control myself, my anger sometimes. You know how bad I want to? But she couldn't comprehend it at 14.
She's probably thinking, well, if you can't control yourself, and if you can't, why are you telling me to control myself?
Yeah, stuff like
so. It's like you're a hypocrite.
So it's like she didn't respect when I would say, okay, you're going to do this, or da-da-da, as a parent. It's like she didn't respect that because I was such a mess, you know? It was like we were older brother and sister or something. You know?
And she just wanted a dad in a way, right? I mean, in a lot of ways.
And I'm just, all I had was the massive love for her. Everything else, discipline and I didn't have, sorry.
No, I can see you're getting emotional. Now, why are you getting it? Talk to me about that.
Sorry.
No. I think it's important.
Well, I think from the start, just you don't really, when you go through trauma like that, like being left alone with skinheads, and your mom abandons you and leaves you with a 16-year-old and her boyfriend, and for days, and your dad comes home, and you hop from house to house. It takes years and layers to like really heal from that, and so I guess hearing it again was really hard. Just accepting that happened to me is hard.
Thanks for bringing it up, Michael.
No, but it's part of it, and it's part of the
part
healing.
of the healing. Yeah,
You're like,
really
you made a movie of it. Like, come on.
I know.
We're supposed to talk about it. But it's hard, man. It's hard to hear it. It's hard for me to talk about it. It's hard sometimes.
But that's why it's so important what you did. That's why the documentary is so important. That's why it's so important that you're here, because you're fighting through the pain. You're fighting through it to show. I mean, I just think it helps so many people who are going through this shit. There's so many have father-daughter issues and mommy issues and all these things. We all have it. Most of us have it. And for you guys to open up about it and show the world, you have to do whatever it takes. You know, you going to therapy, you finding God, or anybody finding whatever it is that helps them, and you going to somewhere like the youth center, which you made some big changes and found yourself. That's that's brave. That's fucking, to me, that's exactly why I'm doing the show.
Come on. And you know what? It's good to feel, and maybe that's another layer that got, you know, touched and healed and everything. And so it's good for people to see that it's okay to feel, you know, because people bury this stuff, and they try to just, well, that's the past. That's the past. Well, if you keep pushing it down, we all know what that brings. It doesn't bring nothing good when you push everything down.
And we all do it.
Yep.
It's all really about shame, isn't it? It's all about, you feel so shameful. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to bring it up. You know it hurts the other person. It hurts you, so you just keep pushing it down. And what does that do? What that does, I've done it. It manifests itself, and you start to act. You start to have physical problems, like mental stress. Things come out. I have things that I'm like, you know, I'm going to try Reiki. You know what Reiki is? Did I pronounce that right? It's like an energy healing.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I've had so many surgeries, which we've talked about, and all this shit. And it's just like, you know, I don't care what it takes. I want to feel better. I want to heal myself. I'll do whatever. I'll go to any, you know how Andy Kaufman in that movie, Man on the Moon, you know, he thinks that this guy is this masterful healer, and he knows it's not real, but he just has hope that somebody out there can help him.
Is Reiki dry needle?
No, it's not. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but it's really energy, like healing, like there's hands-on, like emotional stuff, and Like, because I'm trying it because I've heard enough of people saying, hey, try it. You know how many people said, do acupuncture, it's going to help you. It didn't really help me a ton. And then what I end up doing, I end up getting put under and getting anesthesia and feeling good for a couple hours and then injecting my spine and then doing it all over again. And, doesn't really help.
Right.
But it does feel good to not be in pain for a little while. I just think a lot of it is mental. I think I do. At this point in my life, I feel like a lot of pain that I have is stress, is the certain underlying things from childhood, things from that I am trying to work out, that I'm trying to get out of me. It's almost like a fucking exorcist, man.
Right.
Just like, get out, take me.
Yeah.
I want somebody to go, take me.
Exactly. I know what you
we
feel,
all have
man.
it, and I see you both.
Last week, I felt like that.
You did.
Yeah, I had a meltdown. Not like a massive meltdown like before, but I was just like I was talking about in the kitchen with you. It was like, I just want simple. Why am I getting this? Why am I getting that? It's just making me stressed out. I just want to chill. I want simple condo.
We talk that. I'm glad you brought that up because you guys. He was talking about. I want things to be simple, and when you were with Korn, it was so much that definitely wasn't simple, right? Although you disappeared in drugs and all these things, but then you said, I found what I'm looking for. I found religion. I found God, and then. I just want a simple life. I don't want to be busy all the time. I just want to. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm getting a little bored now. Need something else. And then you're like, then all of a sudden you start to do all these things again, and it comes out, and then you're too busy again.
Yeah.
So it's a cyclical back and forth thing of like, do you want to really live a simple life? It's a balance. It's a
tug of war.
It's a tug of war, but it's like, hey. This is my schedule for the week. I'm going to go talk on this Dipshits podcast for an hour with my daughter. And then when I leave that, I'm going to go see my friend Monkey who has a baby. And then, I'm going to go get some lunch with my daughter. And then tomorrow I'm going to go to church. And then here's my schedule for the week, but I'm going to do as much as I can for myself as I am with work. Because people always say I'm not my work. So if you're doing too much and pulled in different, it's just like the drugs, right? Yeah. It's just like you have the decision to go, fuck it, no. I don't want to go do another podcast. I don't want to do this. I'm taking the day off. I'm going to sleep in late. I'm going to go see a movie by myself or with Jennea. And that's just the fucking way it is. This is my world. So we all have that choice.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just doing it. It's just going, I can't, man.
It's like during Christmas. We're like it's her break where she's just free to do something for a couple
from
of weeks.
From school, from work, all of it.
Right.
I take 2 weeks, yeah.
So we're always like, okay, we always come to California. We're going to go to Disney World. We're going to do that. This year we went to Vegas. We went to Bakersfield. She went to Phoenix. I went back to Nashville. And it was just like, next year, we're not doing nothing. We're just going to Bakersfield, seeing grandparents. But then when next year comes, what's it going to be like? Well, we do have 2 weeks off. Maybe we can go to Vegas too. Just, you know what I'm saying? You're right. It's that balance. It's like you want rest and then you forget because you want adventure too.
Yeah. It's tough watching the documentary, and it fills me with a lot of hope, and I think it will give people a lot of hope because it just felt like, is this going to be one of those documentaries? I know you didn't die at the end of the documentary, but at the same time, I'm like, if I didn't know you, I just turn this on. I didn't know anything about you. I'm like, how is he going to get out of this?
Right.
And how is she going to survive? She's going to be fucked up. How many times have you looked at a kid, some other kid from some other family and go, that kid's fucked. Like, man, poor kid. His parents suck, or his parents can't get it together, and he's acting out and he's doing all these things. And it takes so much work, like, for that kid not to be.
It just takes focus and everything. And I mean, there's a lot of people that have been through like a lot worse than we have that have been okay. You just got to want to fight through it. You have to want to process it, because every family's broken in some way.
Yeah.
Small, large, broken is broken. There's issues.
You know what? I thought of something funny out of all this funny stuff we're talking about. But I was thinking, every time I look at a rock star and I look at their lives and I look at you and I'm like, seeing all the drugs that you've done, I know for sure I never would have made it as a rock star.
Really?
I would have died day one. Michael Rosenbaum, his first concert out here at Madison Square Garden, and he's dead. I don't even know how it is. You look at you guys, and you guys aren't fat pigs. You're like skinny rockers, long hair, and you're just drinking and doing drugs. And I'm like, I do one hit of a fucking hybrid, mostly of indica, which means I always remember into couch. So you're mellow, like you're just into couch mellow. And I'm the next day, I'm like, I can't get it together. I just got to make it to the counter for a burger with my friends. I'm so like, for some reason, drugs just, I can't do something like, I couldn't even imagine doing 1 week on tour with you guys, matching what you guys were doing. I mean, you were always drunk, always on drugs, right? There was no reality really other than just
Not
partying.
always on drugs, but always drinking, yeah.
How many drinks do you think you had a day? If you had to say, measure it in a fifth of vodka. If there was a fifth of vodka, do you think you drank a fifth of vodka a day?
What's a fifth? Is a fifth like one of those big bottles that go like that?
It's not the giant liter.
Okay.
It's the one smaller, but not the pint.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
in between.
Okay. Yeah,
So
probably something like that.
a fifth. So roughly, 5 to 10 fifths a week. How did you have health problems?
Or
Did you-
7.
Did the doctor ever say your liver is done?
Well, you have
We
to
were
take
young.
2. They were young. They were
Yeah.
20 something, mid 20s, late 20s.
I stopped in my early 30s,
Yeah.
so I'm sure there was damage.
But is Monkey
Yeah.
and all these and all these guys still drinking that much?
no, God.
No,
They
they're
all
all
slow down.
family men. They're all married and have kids. And yeah, there's a few that drink wine every once in a while.
Purple
but-
Tooth drummer, Purple Tooth.
Wow.
1
Okay.
a.m. He's like, hey man, it is purple. And our bass player has some beers every night, but not
But
too
they
much.
control it.
Yeah. they
Yes.
No
control it.
drugs really in the band.
No, none.
No, just like a couple of 8 balls a week. and
Oh
that's
my
it.
God.
Now, do you think there's Korn
I
fans
cannot.
out there
No
that are
drugs,
going?
no
Are Korn
drugs.
fans just going? What happened to these guys? They were my idols, and now. And of course, now who gives a shit what they think? They were young. Your fans.
Exactly.
Everybody was young. You were doing something. You found your way, and you're lucky you're not dead.
Yeah, we're just
Yes,
people, man.
exactly.
So if they're like that, then I don't really care for.
Did
them
you
as
think you were
fans.
going to lose? And did you notice, like, I am walking away from this, and I'm walking away from all my friends who I grew up with and gave me this opportunity, and I am walking away from all the fans who have put many dollars and many. Did you? I mean, and I'm thinking about that. Like, you were. Did you that come across your mind a lot?
A little bit, but the feeling was so powerful that, oh my gosh, I know because of that enlightenment and that awakening that Christ is real and that the other side is real. So I need to focus on that and this precious little 6-year-old girl. And so the fans, sorry,
21.
sorry,
21.
I love you fans. Sorry, I love you band members, but
Your daughter's
this
more
stuff's
important.
more important.
Well, of course I understand.
You know,
yeah.
that's it. But there was, I'm an emotional human being, so I was like, yeah, I felt bad. I was like, and there was a $23 million deal that they signed, like about 3 months after I left the band, and
What?
Yeah, for EMI Records.
Did you almost jump back and go, all right, I'm back. Found God, lost him. Here I am. I mean, did you,
Wow.
well, no, you know what I'm saying? Because people,
That's
it
so
depends.
good.
How much do you really love God? How much do you really think this is helping your
I
life?
love it. That's good.
You could have been out of there. Many people would have said, you know what the fuck am I doing?
Or I could have said, I love God too. Thank you, God, for this money, you know?
Yeah.
But I would have said, okay, Jennea, I know I quit the band, but I'm going to go back and another 2 years, then I'll be home.
Right.
Because they went on tour more than ever. Because it was one of the first major 360 deal where merch was involved and everything.
Right.
So they got the 23 million up front. And they were doing that deal while I was in the band. What happened was I didn't tell anybody. I went to media and told them, you know, I found God. I found God. I awakened, enlightenment and all that. And I'm leaving the band. And so they didn't know. So they were like, dude, we're doing the hugest deal we've ever done. And you're out there saying you're quitting. You're doing nothing to help this deal get signed. So yeah, they were pissed off.
So do you remember, because you wrote a letter to the band, right? You wrote an email. It wasn't like, you know.
You remember, you did watch
I
it.
told you I fucking watched it. I watched because it was good. I would have fast forward if it wasn't. I
Can
really
I give
would
props?
have.
I want to give props to DeTore Mayo, who the creative team that put this
Yep.
film together. They made it that way. So
Yeah, it's
What were you
really
gonna
good,
say?
folks. You know, part of me is like, did you ever not get in a confrontation with guys going, what the fuck are you doing? Like screaming at you, telling you, what are you doing? Leaving messages on your phone? Or did they leave you alone?
it was like a wall went up between us, and I never saw them. I did see the bass player, Fildy, about 3 months after I left because his father, who I knew since I was a teenager, passed away, and I went to the funeral. And it was funny. The funeral wasn't funny at all. It was really deep.
I was like, wait a
spoke.
minute.
I actually spoke. Does anybody have anything to say? And I went up and I spoke. I was crying, and I went up to Fildy and I was just like, hey, I talked to his dad on the phone, and I said something that his dad told me, and I go, hey, I just want to tell you that your dad said, and he, like, it was so quiet at the funeral. Everybody was walking, and he turned around and he goes, you ain't better than me. And I'm like, ah. Everybody looked at us, and I'm like, dude, I had to leave the band. I'm just telling you what he said, and that was it. So.
Could you imagine the pain that he was going through, though? Like, his father left, and then the pain of losing you, and then it's so fresh that it was all of it combined, and he blew up. You know?
It was crazy.
Do you cry in front of each other? Obviously, you do. You cry, Jennea.
I'm a Cancer.
Have you seen him cry a lot?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like you cry now more than ever? That you feel like you're just more emotional these days?
I allow myself to cry. We were talking about that a couple months ago or something, where you gotta, like, if you want to be a free person internally, you have to allow yourself to cry. And how I do, we were talking about not bottling things up.
Yes.
And my thing where I get, like, I'll put on music and I'll talk to Christ and I'll be like, fix me. I'm a mess, and spend an hour with him or whatever. And sometimes tears will come, and tears scientifically are healing, right?
Absolutely.
They're healing. And so that helps me. The emotion comes out and I feel it. It's not all the time. I'll go a year without, crying at all. It's just, I know that it happens when it's supposed to.
Yeah, I feel like I'm more emotional too. I mean, I told you, not to make you feel like, I'm on the same page with you by any means. But, I went to a wellness center last year that, my fans know.
We're all the same, man.
And it's just like, I just was like, hey, I need help, man. I'm not me. I'm not the best me. I'm not near it. I don't like me. I don't love me.
Right.
I know there's some good guy in there. Like, I know I'm a good guy.
Yep.
I don't feel it. And I need help. And so I went, and I couldn't believe how emotional I was for someone who doesn't get emotional a lot, because my family never got emotional. Boy, was I wrong. I found so many things, and I talk about this, but like something I think you and I can relate to is you were probably in this youth center. Is that what they called it, a youth center?
It's a boarding school. That's what we call it. Mm-hmm.
Therapeutic boarding school.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, but it wasn't a boarding school like you're thinking in your
Disciplinarian,
mind.
like it was more like love and like, hey,
therapeutic.
Healing.
Yes.
Disciplinarian in a loving way.
Right. And you loved it, right?
Oh my gosh, it changed my life. 100%.
Well, isn't that something? Don't you feel like you found so much? Like for me, I found like I think I've repeated this a few times, but you guys just I haven't talked to Jennea, so I'm saying this.
You're fine.
But I remember that I was doing something and I was crying about something, and she goes, this is great, Michael. You're relearning. And I go, no, I'm not. She goes, what? And I go, I'm learning. I've never learned these things that a child should have learned many moons ago.
Yep.
I never knew this stuff. It was like a new dawn, a new day. I was like, it was so wonderful to start to go, wow, imagine being a kid again, but now getting all the things. But you have to, I'm an adult, so it's like, okay, you didn't get that as a kid. Fuck, that's okay. You know what? Give them to yourself now.
Yep.
Feel the shit that you didn't feel so you could have real relationships and you don't resent and you don't hold grudges and you could just move the fuck on.
Yeah.
You don't swear a lot. I haven't heard you guys swear. Have I been swearing too much?
No.
We don't have good
manners?
What? What are you saying? No, we
swear. You swear.
Yeah, we have problems with that a little bit sometimes.
We do.
Now go
whatever.
ahead. No, you go ahead.
It's more like funny, like when we're joking, we'll be like, fuck. But no.
Right. You don't do it at church though.
No, wait.
Let me ask you this, because a lot of people, this is the most important, because again, people will always say God. Oh, they found God.
Yeah.
And they'll roll their eyes.
I did that.
And I feel like, I don't sit here and say, screw you for not believing in God. I don't tell you what an idiot you are for not having faith. So why should you sit here and roll your eyes? Because I found something that helps me in my life.
Yeah.
So why are you judging me and saying I'm crazy? Now look, there are extremes in all ways, right? They're extreme atheists that are like,
Yeah. That's all they do. Is
you know,
is
it's like,
attack.
okay, so
Yeah.
you're an idiot. And they're the extremists that are like, if you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell. Join my religion. Then, of
Yeah.
course, fuck those people. And that's the way I feel. But then you got people like my friend Chris Dowling and Danique Dowling who go to a
Love
church
them.
in Santa Clarita, or my friend John Heater and his wife Kirsten, who are Mormons, who don't tell me what to do. They don't do, but I go over there and have a family dinner, and religion works for them. And they have morals and values, and I aspire to be good human beings like they are. Chris, they raise a wonderful family, and if it's God that helped them do that, and their spirituality, whatever, I commend them.
Right.
I go to church every year with them for Christmas, and I fall in
The
love
Heaters?
with it. With the Dowlings.
Oh, okay.
I've been to that church that you're going to speak.
Isn't Rusty awesome? I love that dude.
I was just going to say Rusty, and Rusty speaks. He's the pastor there. And every year I'm in tears, and I'm like, it was just beautifully well-spoken, articulate, and fun, and just real. And I just go, these are people who are just really nice people who found something that they all could relate to and that they love and they believe in.
And look what they do for the community.
And look what they
Yes.
do.
Dude.
Tell me what they do for the community.
Oh my gosh. So there was the shooting 3 months
Right.
ago, remember?
Yep.
They're there. They like everybody comes to them in that community, and I'm obviously there's other people like gathering around, but you know, and they're helping the hurting, man.
Yeah.
And there's hurting people, and Christians, look, they don't have it all together. There was a pastor there that took his life just in the last year.
Same
And
church.
So, yeah. And so it's for broken people trying to help other broken people, man. And it's just that they found their thing that works. And, you know, I found mine. And it's like Jesus said that there's like two roads. You know, you can get lost in extremist, you know, atheist or in drugs or whatever it is, or you can get lost in religion. I stay in the middle, the road of life, you know, where you don't judge people. You just, you know, you be yourself. You find out what works for you, and it's worked. 15 years, whatever I found, which was, you know, Christ in my life. I'm not really a church guy. I don't go to church a lot because my lifestyle's on the road. But I study like some of the Christian mystics back in the day, and I'm a meditator and stuff like that. That works so good for me.
Yeah, you know, in the documentary, just in case there's one more thing, you're not convinced I watched it, that one of your band members says when he saw you, he just goes, yeah, like that was working for him. That's
Yeah.
what he needed.
Monkey, yeah.
And Monkey said that.
That was towards the end of the movie. You even watched it.
Of course I did. So it's like,
He saw it in my eyes.
so if
it
you
says.
really love someone, whatever it takes for them to find themselves, to be the best person they could be, to love themselves, to want to live, a lot of times it's selfish. You know, I've seen where, you know, even when I came back from the wellness center, I'm just all routined out and structured out and
Right.
doing this, and I'm doing art night, and I'm having this, all these like things. You know, even one of my friends was like, hey man, this was after, but he goes, yeah, you know, it's like, it's nice to see you like whatever, like this. And I go, what do you mean? I don't know. You were kind of a little boring, you know?
Really?
I guess this was post like wellness center. Like for a couple months, I was finding myself. I go, I was boring. Wow. And you start to think, oh shit, I don't want to be boring.
Right.
But it's like, it doesn't matter. You have to just do this for yourself.
Right.
You know, and if you started thinking about, man, you're changed, man, look at you. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it gets kind of fucked up. Look, I really like this. I know it's been kind of going, we've kind of gone all over the place in a way, but now you guys have this relationship, and I'm sure it's not perfect. I'm sure it's still like, you know, I saw you texting Monkey because he has a kid, and she's kind of looking at you like, fuck, come on, we're doing an interview.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, do you still
Getting ready to go from the hotel today. It's
do you
like-
call each other out? Do you really genuinely call each other out? Do you say, you know, Dad, you're doing this, and talk to me?
She will call me out my shit. Yes, definitely.
And do you agree with it usually?
Yeah, but mostly it's just, you know, she accepts me for who I am, and so I'm just a nutball, like always goofing around, and we just kind of have fun together, you know, because she's living her life. She's growing up in Indiana, and
Do you have a
she's
boyfriend?
become an adult.
I do.
And do you like him? Not you.
Oh, I thought you asked her that.
Do you like your boyfriend?
Do you hold hands
I told you I say stupid shit sometimes. I'm like Chris Farley interviewing with So. You like your boyfriend? God, idiot. Why would you ask that? No, Brian, do you like him?
I do. He was, first date, I told him how important she is to me and that we went through a lot of processing to get to where we are in life right now. And just so he knows that. And he was like, really respected that. Then he asked me a few weeks later or months or whatever.
For her hand in marriage?
If they were just friends. They were good friends going on dates. And they were going to take it further. And he's like, do you mind if I, I want your daughter to be my girlfriend.
Make it official.
And you're like, cool, man.
He's a sweet, nice.
Is he a drinker?
Man. No.
Would you wouldn't date a drinker, would you? Or somebody who's addicted to drugs?
No,
or like that?
I couldn't.
I mean, how could you do that, right?
I couldn't.
I mean, that would be just stupid. You've seen it all. You know it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you're almost doing something that you know.
Thank you.
I mean, think about that. All the shit you've been through,
It's
no matter
gonna
how
fail.
attracted, and sometimes.
Oh, I know.
Well, sometimes
100%.
people think, I'm attracted to guys that are messed up. I want to fix them.
It's
Like
gonna
my dad,
fail. It's gonna fail.
My dad was messed up. I want to. So, and I think when guys do that with girls. It's not just the. It's
true.
It's mutual.
It's true.
So, when you date somebody, obviously, are you with someone now?
No.
You're not. But do you look for someone who is the opposite of you? Someone who listens to Air Supply?
Yes. I don't date anybody, man. I'm just all out of love.
So you go out, you have fun, you like sex, you like fun. Sorry about saying that in front of your dog.
I just don't. No, I don't date. I'm kind of like a monk, like a heavy metal monk, a metal monk. I just kind of I like to read. I like to be alone. But when I did date, I dated this girl from England just briefly, and she was really quiet and sweet. So I like that. I don't like.
What does this tattoo mean? Were you with the devil then?
Wow.
And this one here.
you with the Satan?
What's the H? Oh, it spells something. Oh, looky
Oh
look.
my God.
Sorry, that was horrible English.
That was perfect.
I don't know why I did it.
No, she was just. I need somebody chill because
Of course, me too.
I'm like.
Look at me. Look
I'm
at
a
you.
spaz. I'm a spaz.
We're spaz. Your head, I'm a head case. This is. Yeah.
When I go home though, I'm chill, and so I need chill, and I don't need someone like. Blah, 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 blah.
And wanting to change things, whatever, because he loves his routine. So
That's
I think
nothing wrong
a
with
girl
that.
that goes with the flow.
Do you have someone? Sorry.
No, I don't have someone. I have, I
You have your doggies?
I have my doggies. I've been, I see someone who's awesome, but we're on the same page. Like, it's very honest. Where it's like, you're still finding yourself, and I don't know what this is, but look, I would love. I mean, I think there's nothing better than being in love and like having someone there for you. I mean, I think we all deserve it.
Did you have it at one time?
I've had it. I've lost it. I've been reckless. I've been like, oh, this is fine, but I'm not ready for this. And then, wow, that hurts. Wow, that's a year of pain because I was fucking an idiot.
Yeah.
Because I made a wrong decision because of my ego or whatever. And you suffer for it. You suffer for it. So I feel like now at my age, if I found someone right now that just was like, this is it, there's no doubt in my mind. I'm like, I'm not going to lose her. I'm going to do whatever I can. In fact, I go above and beyond. I stay in things longer because I'm like, make sure that this is not right.
Right.
Make sure.
Yeah.
No one's perfect. Look at yourself. You're definitely not perfect. Back to you, Jennea, do you look at somebody that's more like your dad or less like your dad, or maybe has the heart of your dad, but
I think I'm still figuring it out and figuring out.
You're young.
I'm so young. I'm chilling.
Just don't take care of someone unless they're taking care of you too.
100%.
And no codependency, right?
Yep.
100%. I'm with you.
Do you have a relationship with your mom?
No, we don't talk. She went through some insane childhood trauma, and
I never dealt with it.
yeah. I mean, there was no opportunity where she could, and so she's doing her thing, and so it still hurts, and I'm still like before, like how I was emotional. I still get to those places, and it's just another layer of healing, and so
we just kind of like ride over that subject, and then. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's good to talk about it because a lot of people can relate to it, and a lot of kids and a lot of adults really have parents who have struggled with addiction, and so it's like this thing where they're okay one day, but then they're not okay the next day, and they do something sporadic, and that's just mom, that's just she just deals with that, and so I've learned that I'm whole without her.
Can I tell you one thing?
That's good.
Yes.
This is what I've learned, and this took me a lot of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying your mom's crazy. If you think your mom's crazy, let's just say, you know how people say, my mom's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you think that you can fix her or change her or make her a different person or make her the mother that you wanted, then you're crazier than she is. You have to just say, this is you, and I will take as little or as much of you as I want because I'm an adult and it's my choice. And I'm not going to let the things or actions that you do affect the way I feel. And I'm not going to feel guilty. I'm not going to feel anything.
Yep.
I was a little girl. I should have been taken care of. And this is what I want out of our relationship. If you want a relationship, that's what I did with my mother. I love my mother, but I'm in charge of what kind of relationship I want with anybody.
That's good. That's healthy, man.
Yeah, that's
so
very healthy.
And it's hard because sometimes people are
hard.
desperate.
Boundaries. That's
boundaries,
it, right?
man. But just like you're your own woman. You're strong. You went through so much. It's only going to make you stronger. You deserve the best dude. Someone who
Thank you.
respects you,
Yes.
you know? And that's it, you know?
Thank you.
All this.
Better bring it, Zach.
Yeah. Zach. I'm sure Zach's a great guy. Look, Loud Krazy Love is the documentary. And where can people see this?
It's on Showtime right now. It's you can get it on demand. Showtime. You can watch it when it comes on.
You can find it on all digital platforms. YouTube,
I was going
Amazon.
there, but we did the deal with Showtime, so I'm plugging Showtime.
Where can we find it right now?
But you can get it on demand through.
Watch the documentary.
I'm getting there. What was that? I don't even want to talk about it. But all digital platforms, and or you can get it through brianheadwelch.net, the DVDs, Amazon, iTunes, all that. Loud Krazy Love with a K.
Loud Krazy Love with a K. And I'm telling you, I watched it. You heard this. I loved it. I think it's important. If you're going through any kind of struggle, if you have this daughter, father, mother, whatever relationship, it's about family.
Or just family.
It's not, I don't even think it's
two
that.
people.
How about just like people who face adversity and have found something that works for them? And look, this is a constant work. I don't look at you two and think, oh, they're perfect. They're fixed. You're not. You're fucking flawed like I am, like the rest of us.
Big time.
But you know what it is? You're doing something about it. You're doing something about it. That's the bottom line, is you're making a step in the right direction every day. Even if you feel like you're going backwards, you still see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's the most important thing that we all look at.
Yeah.
So watch this documentary. Well, I thank the both of you. This is really quickly. We're gonna do a little. This is really fast. This is called Shit Talking with Rosenbaum.
Okay.
And these are quick questions from my patrons from Patreon. They're it's this cool thing. It's
Love
if you want
it.
to join.
Yeah, I know about Patreon.
So these are some patrons that ask some questions. Megan L, what is the most? And these could be fast. You don't have to answer. You probably already answered these, so you could be quick.
Okay.
Megan L, what is the most surreal experience Jennea had as a daughter of a rock star? The most unique or surreal experience that you remember going, oh my God, I remember I was tossed around the crowd as a 3-year-old like one of those balloons or those beach balls.
How about
no.
meeting Snoop Dogg and, hey, come here, little mama.
Yeah, when I was 4 years old, it was at some festival or something, and he was like 6'5" or
From
whatever.
the depths of the sea, look at this little Jennea looking
Yep.
at me.
Yeah, like that.
Quick. And or she pet dolphins at 4 months old in Australia, so maybe that.
Well, you know what,
And
Jennea?
and
I remember that.
And tigers. We have pictures of it. It's in the book, my first book. Did you ever read it? Did you ever look it?
You know what I noticed, though? I will say this because Jennea is probably thinking it. Say, Dad, yes, you're saying all these things are all true, but let me come up with the most surreal thing that I think.
Okay, go.
This is Jennea's question. Right, Jennea?
Yeah, Dan.
She's like, Dad, those were all great, but nothing will top this.
My bad.
Even Snoop, right?
Was that it, Snoop? He's asking you.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know. You were answering. Okay, this is actually kind of embarrassing, but my favorite band was Blink-182 growing up. When I was 12, 13, I loved pop punk. That was my shit. And so we got to see Blink when Tom DeLonge was still in the band. He left. We got to see them, meet them backstage, and we went to their dressing room. And Tom's like, "Hey, it's so good to meet you."
Was Dad with you?
Yeah.
Did you like them?
Oh, I love Blink. I still do.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Travis is my favorite drummer on the planet.
Yeah.
Travis Barker. And he's an awesome guy.
They were
Love
all
that dude.
so nice, and it just I smiled. He would say Tom DeLonge, and I would smile for the next month, like being 12.
Yeah, she's in love with him.
But
She grew out of that. So no way, Tom, sicko.
Oh,
Don't even think
God.
about it.
Danny, D-A-N-I,
Whatever.
Danny, I'd like to know what musical taste Brian and Jennea share. Is there a band or an album that they both love that they just that's it?
Ariana Grande.
Ariana Grande. We listened to her last night, and it's like some of her
Live
songs
album.
are cheesy for me, but there's some that get
I've
me.
never listened to her. I couldn't name
Oh
one
my
song.
gosh.
Should I listen to her?
Breathing, the song Breathing
don't
is
know.
like, because after everything she went through with like the shootings and like in the Great Britain or whatever, and everything she's been through, and hearing that song Breathing, just keep breathing, it just gets me.
Hey, Ryan, will you write that down that I should listen to Ariana Grande and then cross it out?
Wow. Whatever, dude.
I'm kidding. I will
Just
check it out. If you could listen to it, I will.
Listen
I
to
will.
Breathing.
She has the most incredible voice.
I'm sure.
Unreal.
Angie, if you could go back in time and change one thing about your life, what would it be and why? Both of you. I mean, this is tough, but it's probably easy in a way, but it's tough.
I learned a lot from my addictions, but probably the addictions, So a lot of goods come out of it, but the damage done to her, I would have definitely gone back and reversed.
I would say same. I think a lot of people say, the pain made me stronger, but I wouldn't wish what I went through on anybody. But because I can't, I accept it and I make the most of it.
Megan, was it difficult to rebuild the relationship with the Korn band members after leaving the band? I mean, the documentary will show you that when you watch it, but
It was difficult. Once we got back together after 8 years, it was just easy. Everything was forgiven. But we were separate. Like, we didn't talk. It was
did you ever say, let's have a group prayer? And they're like, fuck you.
Wow.
No.
Never.
No?
They let me do it. Like when I first joined the band, we were doing it, and then I could see like the singer roll his eyes. So I was like, okay, well, no more prayers before the show. It's like you say the same thing every night, and it's like, we gotta do that.
Jerry W., these are just comments, 2 comments, says, Divine is my favorite angry music song.
Nice.
I listen to it when I'm in a bad mood and sing along. Then I laugh hysterically at myself, and I'm good.
That's so
No
cool.
question.
Dude.
It's no question. Just tell Brian Welch that and see what he says.
Aw.
That's his form of therapy, right?
Yes.
He's like, he gets the anger out, he screams it with the song, and then he laughs hysterically. Laughter is healing too.
It is.
Tears and laughter.
Agnes says, I want to thank you for amazing and important music, which has helped me so many times in a lot of bad moments in my life.
Agnes, I'm so thankful for you saying that. And that's what our gifts in life are about, right? To touch others and to help the world. So I'm glad you're doing better.
This has been a real joy. What's your Twitter or your Instagram handles? I don't think anybody Twitters anymore. Do that.
No. Instagram is Jennea Welch, Jennea Welch.
Can you write that down? Ryan?
WELCH. And don't cross it out. And
Don't cross it out. Yeah.
Instagram, Brian Head Welch, one word, Brian with an I. Facebook.com/Brian Head Welch, BrianHeadWelch.net, all that. So, and then Loud Krazy Love, crazy with a K.com.
Also, I want to plug the boarding school that I went to. We are starting a campaign to raise money for kids in the foster care system in single parent homes. So that's awakeningyouth.org.
I love it.
Yeah, we're talking about doing a fundraiser concert and everything because they need to get licensed by the state of Indiana, and they've done it privately for so many years. But they're an awesome school, so hopefully that will expand.
And where can they go if there's a kid out there listening or a teenager, or even somebody? How old? What's the? If you want to go to where you went, it's a boarding school for women, for girls. But how old? What's the age?
13 to 23, and then they're also launching a boys program. And so, yeah, the fundraising will help sponsorships. That'll help get them licensed as a group home. That'll help build the facility and everything.
And
But if someone needs to talk like a young
That's
person
what I was
needs to
gonna
talk,
Yeah.
they can totally just contact them.
Yeah.
Someone with no money.
And what's the name of the place again?
Awakeningyouth.org.
.org, and they can go there and they can ask questions, and if they're interested, or their parents, or even
Yes.
if you're 21, 22, 23, if you're maybe 24, they might even sneak in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who knows? I appreciate this candid, open talk. I could talk to you guys forever, but I really enjoyed this. This is fun. I know it's hard, I don't know you for shit, and so now after watching this and talking to you, I felt like during this thing, we all started getting like, all right, this is, it's hard. It's hard to gain trust because I'm like, I'm a guy that's interviewing you, and I think what's cool is you notice that I've been through shit. We've all been through shit, and I think the relatability is important.
I can connect with people pretty damn fast.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I think talking about with so many people being so open, we don't have really walls up. We just go in. But it was awesome. I love the humor and I love the
Yes.
the deepness of the conversation. So it was a great mixture. I love what you're doing, brother. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for. By the way, did you ever, when you first left the band, did you ever read the comments people were saying about you and what you were doing? Did you get absorbed? Did you absorb all that, or did you just avoid? Did you hear things like, "Oh, now he went from corn to candy corn," or like what kind of shit did you go through? Like hearing that?
Oh, all kinds of it. It was.
Did it hurt?
Some of it.
Of course.
Like
How could it not?
one guy said, I wish he would have died on meth rather than to find Christianity. And I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's just ignorance.
And it's just stupid. But
Shock value. It's all it is.
Shock value.
Yeah, it hurt, man. So I stopped reading the comments because it hurt too bad. Like you'd have 10 good ones and one horrible
You
one.
always look at that one.
And it would like sting you. It's
Isn't
like
that
a dart.
something?
It's like a dart in your emotions. You know?
Yeah. All right. That was amazing. Thank you
dart?
for allowing me to be in a dart.
I said a dart in your emotions. Why not a knife?
I call cigarettes darts. Are
Really?
you guys going out to smoke a dart? You never heard that?
No, that must be some Indiana shit.
I think it was. Well, you should know, Jennea. Brian, Jennea, thank you for allowing me to be inside of you today.
Thank you. Oh, weird.
Well, that's the show.
Yes.
It's called Inside of You.
Oh, thank you.
Still.
That was intense, man. Whew. That was an intense freaking interview. And when they cried, I was like, oh shit. And he's like, way to go, Rosenbaum. And I'm like, fuck. I don't know what it is, man. I have a sensitivity to me. I feel where someone's going. And I just knew that I see her eyes welling up and I'm like, oh no, I gotta back off. But I don't think I was too much. I was just talking.
Yeah.
I think they really enjoyed it. And that's what I like at the end. They're like, hey, thank you for opening up. And thank you for, it felt comfortable. And that made me feel good. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was riveting. It really was. I was floored.
By the way, next week is the first video.
Uh-huh.
So this is it. I mean, next week you guys are going to hear a guest that I think you're going to really enjoy. And great job, Ryan, for the first editing job. And he's been working his ass off. And, we don't pay him that much here. I thought we were, but apparently his hours are longer than he's a perfectionist, but we're working on ways to minimize his work. If you like the editing, let Ryan know. And, we're thinking of different ways of doing things, but your input always helps. You're going to say something, Ryan?
No.
You weren't.
No,
you looked
I
like
was,
you did.
No, I was literally just thinking about, we got to think about the next one I got to work on.
Oh, shit. I know. It's all going to pay off.
I think so.
The more successful this podcast becomes, I just want to be able to keep doing it, man. But you got to pay people like Ryan, who's a super talent. So, hey, a big shout out to all my patrons. Right, real quick. These are the top tiers who, I love you all, but these guys give a lot of money, man. So, I mean, every cent is a lot of money. To give anything is a lot of money. But I really appreciate the support. And it helps pay guys like Ryan, right?
What?
Allison L. Andrew C. Angelina G. Lee. Barry L. Love him. Bob, believe it or not. Bob B. Vortex. Chris, Dion K. Emily K. Emily S. Emma H. Jason D. Jason W. Don't get those fuckers confused. Jerry W., Jill E., Kevin R., Kristen K., Lauren G., Lee S., hi Lee, or Leah, just kidding. Mark A., Michael S., Nancy D., Nico P., Raj, my Raj, Robert B., Sarah V., Scott B., Sean W., Tiana, Trisha, you want to say this with me? Yukiko. I love Yukiko. So I want to thank all the patrons for really hooking it up, who sponsor the show or subscribe to the show and give extra money, and you get a bunch of good stuff. And those top tiers are going to be getting a little care package here soon. We got a Q&A with me I'm doing this week, just a lot of good stuff. And they're very insightful, and they get a lot of input. They get to ask questions to guests sometimes, and blah blah blah. All right, I'll be in Richmond, I'll be in Richmond this weekend coming up. I'll be in Mexico in March. Look up on the socials. Make sure you subscribe, please, guys. I say it all the time, but it really helps. If you're listening and you know 10 people, make them subscribe. The live podcast in Austin, Texas with Zach Levi, my first live podcast. Please come support me. Let's get a sold out show. Let's have a great time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to work it. And make sure you go to insideofyoulive.com. You could also go to marginwalkerpresents.com. $25 tickets. Get them now. Early bird special. Me and Zachary Levi. We're going to do some fun stuff. And so there's that. And I'm doing a Stage It next weekend. So make sure you go watch that live. Listen to some music with Jason Manns and myself. A little Left on Laurel music and everything else. If you feel like donating to Ronald McDonald House of Los Angeles, or any Ronald McDonald House, or Echoes of Hope for foster youth, or Food on Foot for homeless, they're always welcoming that. You know what I mean? You know what? Why don't we end this with a little fan letter? This is from Natalie. Hey, Michael, this might get long, but I promise it's worth the read. I came across your podcast in November 2019. I was looking for something new to put on while I worked. I bounced around a lot of episodes, thoroughly enjoying every story that came to me from you and your guests. I got hooked pretty quick. However, I avoided Jennifer Love Hewitt episode. I avoided it like kryptonite for 2 months. She's quite possibly always been one of my favorite people, so it was hard to stay away. The reason I did was that I lost my mother. Her name was Kathy, and it'll be 3 years. In May. Sorry, Natalie. Since she's been gone, she took her own life after several different failed attempts over the course of what seemed to be rapid 6 months. I knew that I would have to save Jennifer's episode for when I needed a good cry. The good day came a month before my 30th birthday. Mom always made a huge deal about all our birthdays starting a month out, so I could feel that I needed a cry coming anyway. Even though I was at work, I took a deep breath and I hit play. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I did my work in tears once she started talking about her mom. I had to try not to ugly cry when Jennifer spoke about getting the call. My younger sister was the one to find our mom like she did and ended up being the one to call me. The rest feels like a blur. Through somehow I made it through the flight there. I remember a good amount of everything. 600 people showed up to her viewing, 600 people who loved her. We're all healing in our own ways. I had a little baby girl in May. Our son plays hockey and loves it. Knowing our daughter will never meet my mom is hard. My mom and our story is a topic I could discuss for days if you let me, so I'll stop here for now. I just want to say a huge thank you for always being so candid on mental health, Michael. My mom would have loved you. I hope I can somehow help others the way you do one day. Also, a thank you to Jennifer Love Hewitt. She helped me realize that it's okay to still grieve even after a long time. There's no time stamp on grief, and I'm going to take my time with this. If you do end up reading this on the podcast, which I am, thank you to the listeners for sticking through this long email. Hug your parents, your spouses, significant others, kids, fur babies, plant babies. Hug everyone as long as they're cool with it. And just know you're not alone. Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. That was Dumbledore who said that. Best wishes, Natalie. Natalie, thank you. That's a great way to end the podcast. Thanks for being so strong and sharing such a personal story with us. And you guys, I appreciate you more than you know. I don't even think you know how much I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for allowing me to be inside all of you. From Ryan Tejas and myself.
That's me.
We'll see you soon.